Hey there and welcome. So in this video I'm gonna talk about how to increase productivity by simply using a platform called Google Workspace. But specifically I'm gonna talk about Gmail, which is a known application globally, and we also use this in our day-to-day basis, such as your personal life and even in your corporate. But when it comes to your corporate, sometimes we would always find email is something, it looks like a messy place because you get sent a lot of emails for a day. So you might even find difficult to organize it in a better view. So I'm gonna explain you and I'm gonna show certain demonstration how we can organize this complete email in terms of our corporate email. Okay, so first thing what we got to do is, for an example, when we look at it, our inbox, sometimes we also would think, okay, I just need to completely organize this in a better view so that I could easily go through each and every email without missing any of it. So first thing what we got to think about is to organize our inbox. For an instant, let's say if I were to show in my scenario, what I have done is I have created certain labels in order to keep all my inbox emails in a separate labels. So whenever I receive certain emails, it goes to all these relevant labels which I have customized it for my purposes. So let me just talk about, or let me just simply show you in a quick way how can we create this label and organize it. For an example, I'm gonna just create something called my Google for its education or something. So that's the label name that which I have named for this particular label which I'm gonna create. So I'm gonna create it immediately, and then I'll be able to see the label is right over here. But what I really want to do is, now when I go to the label, it's just an empty label. Yet I have to create a filtration in order to collect or copy all the emails whichever that is in the inbox. So first thing what I got to do is I need to create a filtration. So let me just show you how do we get automatically from the inbox in order to receive all the emails for this particular label which I just created. So let me just go to the all option which you could find even in your left corner. So, and then you would find on the top of the search bar, there will be a show searched option. Okay, so this is the place where we create filtration. Okay, let me just, for an example, I'm gonna pick one of my user in order to collect all the relevant emails for that particular label. So I'm gonna pick one, specifically a one user. So I'm gonna say for the moment, Lahiru Pereira. So, and Lahiru at fcpl.lk is one of my colleagues. So I'm gonna get all the emails which belongs to Lahiru, and I want it to be filtered in the Google Education label. So basically, what I'm just trying to do is whatever that is pertaining to, it could be a subject, it could be any email contents which is relevant to Google Education, it has to go as it is what I'm going to create my filter. And then I could be able even to narrow down in a simple way. So what I want is, I don't want all of his email to filter into that label. What I want is a specific name. I can also define it accordingly, but I'm not going to do that. So you can also see there are some other criterias. So based on your requirement, you can change it. So my requirement at the moment, I just want all of his email in order to copy to this label. So the next thing I would be just go create filter, and then I'll be basically choosing the label. So you can see there are some set of checklist, but apparently I don't want all of these checklists to be selected. So I can only I just only want to select one specific label, which is the label called Google Education. So that's the label name. So whatever that comes from lahiru at fcpl.lk, it goes to the Google Education. And the next thing would be the last option, which is says also apply six matching conversation. So what does it mean by that? It is like, whatever that has been filtered, the email ID I have received. There are so many emails, so there are altogether six email which is in my inbox already, which I received from Lahiru. And then finally, so you can see there are some other, actually you can also select, there are some other list of checklist, and where you can also mark it as your important. And so what I'm trying to show you here is you don't need to necessarily go through all this checklist. I'm just pointing out a specific labels or specific checklist that you need to select, and then finally you can just go ahead and create it, so that you'll be immediately will get a notification where it says your filter was created. So from this moment onwards, I don't have to, uh, go to this specific email, or even if I want to find any of the email which I, let's say it's, if I want to check Lahiru's email, I don't have to go to the inbox mostly. So what I could do is I can move my cursor to this label and figure out whatever that is belongs to Lahiru. It also will be it will get filtered right over here, so which I'm basically have created for my, in a convenient way, so that whenever I receive refer the inbox email, I don't have to go through each and every email in order to attend to every email, so basically I can move to any of this label, I can create it. So however it is, end of the day, whatever the folders that you wanted to create in terms of, could be a subject, it could be your departments, it could be any content of the email. Based on that, you can basically create the label, and as well as the filtration also can be created right over here. So the next thing, what I would be, prefer, for an example, most of the time we would receive emails after emails, so there could be thousands of email can be, pumped up in my inbox. So sometimes even I may forget, because due to my workload, I may not also only focus on my Gmail, I have other works and tasks to be attend. So what I could do is, let's say I have an email which I need to respond it on a specific day, because I really wanted to get an update from my customer, or get an update from my higher management, and then only I want to reply to that email. So let's say this is an email. There you go, you could see this is, it says, hi, this is a testing email for the testing purposes. What I'm gonna basically do is I want to reply to this recipient, not at this moment. What I want to do is I want to respond it on another day. So what I would do it, most of the time we would write it on a sticky notes, we would use a paper, and we paste it on our workstation, or in our it could be also in our cubicle. But you don't have to do that, so because we've been doing that for so many years. Sometimes you may even lose your note, kind of the piece of paper. It could be also a junk paper end of the day. So what you could do is, the best scenario that you could use by simply using through Gmail, I move my cursor to the right corner where you could find even the snooze feature. So snooze is basically, it sounds like your alarm. So most of the time when you want to set an alarm, when the alarm hits at the right time, as you set the time, you can also snooze it later, which means it'll remind you back about the alarm. So the same thing, it works in Gmail. So I want this email to remind me, so I'm going to set a reminder simply by picking a date. I could just simply say on 5th of July 2021, and then I'll be able to just give a specific time to it if I want to, and then I would save it. So it'll immediately it will flush out from my inbox and it goes to my snooze label. So you could see now on 5th of July there's an email which I have marked as reminder. So it will reminds me on the date on 5th of July at around 10 a.m. in the morning. It'll come back to my screen saying that snooze 3 days ago or snooze on the last week. So that's how the reminder works. So the snooze feature is will helps you to remind each every email, whatever that email you wanted to make it as a reminder, it helps you to remind as well. All right. So the next thing would be most of the time we would, uh, even maintain physical notebooks in order to write down all your to-do list or your day-to-day tasks, or even it could be certain emails that you need to follow up based on your priorities. So, what we could do by using Gmail, how can we utilize Gmail in terms of certain features to keep all the track of records in order for you to see whether the task has been done or completed or not. So Gmail will helps you. There's something a feature called tasks. Okay, so like I told you, so any to-do list that you all have in your weekly basis or in your day-to-day basis, you might even have a physical notebook in order to write down. But what Gmail will does is basically I would even I could just add my task, instead of using a notebook. There you go, I have my virtual notebook. While I'm using my Gmail, I can still work on it, which means I can still add task, uh, whatever it wants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add certain tasks. For an example, let's say my list. I could even just go to this three dot over here. I can also add subtask saying that customer or email follow-ups, and I can also hit a deadline to it. So just in case for me to get reminded, okay, this is the date or the end date that I wanted to give for this specific subtask. And also once it been completed, I can also mark it as completed. So immediately it gives me the fully picture here, and it will also get splitted. Whatever that was completed, it shows at the bottom as completed, which as a marked as uh, a, a tick mark. And also there will be another set of list will show, which shows as a the pending list. Okay. And the next thing would be, let's say, even if I want to follow up certain email from my inbox, what I could do is I can also, move certain emails from this particular place. Let's say I'm gonna pick just a random emails, and then I'm gonna just say, just drag and drop it inside my task. So let me do that again. For the first time it won't work, and when you do it on the second time, it got attached to the taskbar. And the next thing would be, I could also, let's say if I want to refer that email, if I want to go through that email on the next following week, most of the time you might go and search for it, right? But here you don't have to do that. As soon as you open your task, since you have dragged and dropped it inside your task, there you go. When you tap on that task label, it will direct you to that particular email, just like that. So that is what basically happens in terms of, certain emails, where you can also add your task list instead of using a physical notebook. Most of the time I don't use physical notebooks because sometimes I lose it. Sometimes I get to forget it. You know, so my best way of utilizing all this feature, or even uh, maintaining all my tasks in one particular location, which is also the task will helps you in certain ways of your maintaining your task and your work. So that's how the Gmail works in terms of certain works and certain features, how you can utilize it, how you can increase your productivity by without using multiple tools and accessories, where you can use it while you're in Gmail. Simple as that. And let me also just talk about something again. Let me go back to my inbox. Okay, and even if I want to go back to my snooze, and let's say if I want to unsnooze it, if I don't want it to remind me on that particular day, I can also go and unsnooze it. There you go. All right. And even if you have let's say certain tasks to be to be added to task as well, there you go. You could find this option even add to task, where it'll automatically, which means as soon as you click on this button, it'll get attached or it'll get insert to your taskbar. All right. Okay, so let me also just talk about something else, and let's just talk about the compose bar. Okay, you can see this is my signature, which is also got attached, so where you have the automatic feature. Okay, let's say I want an email which I need to send it to one of my client who is uh, out of my country, or it could be one of my international customer. So I would basically considering to send emails which I need to prioritize based on my workload. So what I want to do is I want to make sure to send that email at the right time, at based on their regional time, because when you take an international with our region, it's basically you find a lot of time differences. Like if you take it as a Europe, of course there are a lot of time differences that you tend to see. But what I wanted to do is I want to compose the email. For an example, I'm gonna say my second priority email. Oops, I'm gonna change it. Prior and this is, oh, I'm gonna say hi. This is an important email. Okay, let me just right click on it. Important email to follow. So I just gave a very random content, and let's say I want this email to send to one of my clients, so I'm going to pick one of my colleagues for just for an instant sake. So I'm going to send this email to my client, who's basically at this moment, it could be even a different time slot. Yeah, that's fine. But what I want to do is I want to send my client this specific email on the end of the month. So that is my requirement right at the moment. So sometimes you might even write it on a notebook. Like I said before, you might have a notebook where you write down all your tasks and your workload. But right now, what I want to do is I want this email to be sent. I want it to send to my client on the end of this month. So what I could do is I could just simply move my cursor to the left corner, or the left corner at the bottom, which is next to the send bar, and where you find there's an option called schedule send. So there you go. What you can basically do is through the scheduling email, where you can set up a specific time in order to send this email, where basically you can schedule an email. So I'm going to pick a date and time. I'm going to say, for an example, on 30th of July, I'm going to say it's 10 a.m. in the morning, and you can basically schedule this email. So immediately you would see there will be a notification where it pops up on your screen saying that you're scheduled on 30th of July at 10 a.m. in the morning. So at the same time, you also will get a notification by simply visibling a certain label called schedule. So just like that, you can schedule your email as well. So that is one of the feature that comes in in Gmail. So the way where you can also focus on certain productivity, without writing down on a certain notebook, or writing down or setting up a calendar reminder. No, you don't have to do that. Simply you can schedule it then and there, and the email will be automatically will be sent. So let's look at it some of the other features on another video. Thank you.